All right, hello everyone, and welcome to our news and notes. It's Tuesday. Not really a long video today, but some very intriguing stuff that happened over the last 4 days. So we're just going to touch on these. Of course, we had some big trades, and yeah, it kind of shakes up a lot of rosters. So let's kind of go through this real quick. First of all, the first trade that we had that was announced was the Columbus River Dragons sending Andrei Simanchik to Watertown along with cash for Josh Colton. Josh Colton had been selected by Watertown in the dispersal draft. Of course, Colton played with Motor City last year. And now he's going to be down in Columbus, apparently. Simanchik, quite honestly, I think he's going to be in the SP this year. So, okay, there was a little bit of a cash infusion, but I kind of think Columbus won this trade. But that's just my opinion. My take on things. Watertown involved in another trade. This happened next, but this was the real big one. The PD Ice Cats get Trevor Lord in exchange for Danik Druin and Olivier Baudin. Now, both of those players played for a little bit with the HC Venom and then with Carolina. So they're familiar with each other. Kind of more depth players, though, Druin and Baudin. We know what Trevor Lord is. He's easily one of the top 10 best players in the league. And so I think PD really, really helped themselves out. They already had Jasso. They've got quite a bit of talent on that team. They can be very dangerous offensively this upcoming year. So those were the big trades. And then we had the other one. The Prowlers picking up 3 players from Monroe. They get Blake Anderson, Nick Favreau, and Connor Bazal in exchange for Tucker Scantlebury. And this is another case where I feel like most likely, Scantlebury is probably going to be in the SP this next year. So that was an awful lot for Monroe to give up to Port Huron for Scantlebury. So Port Huron already has a pretty good lineup. Now they have 3 more players to plug in. Blake Anderson will be, I think he'll be very good on a second line. Favreau and Bazal, nice additions as well. So those were our big trades. And so we had some bigger names moving. It'll be interesting to see what the impact is for all the teams and all the rosters involved. Of course, we're not really going to know how teams' rosters are going to shape up until probably about the end of October. Even though the season starts on October 10th, there's always a domino effect. There's SPHL players being called up to the ECHL. Get a look-see. So the SP calls a bunch of people up from the Fed. And now the SP doesn't start until a week later. So you figure everybody gets their look-see. A couple weeks later, players are sent back down, ECHL to SPHL, SPHL to Fed. And so then really by the early part of November, then you kind of have a good idea, whoever your team is, okay, this is the roster primarily that we're working with. But yeah, it's going to take a while to get there. So October is always a very unpredictable month in the FPHL. The other news, I didn't have room to write it, and I didn't have a second wolf logo. Of course, they changed their look. They released a new word mark, uh, a new primary logo, and a secondary logo. And the secondary logo, if you've seen on Facebook or Instagram, whatever, it's the paw with a W, and it's got like the trees and the mountains and the river and all. Um, Very simple, but I think it's very nice looking. I actually like the secondary logo a lot. Um, I admit I'm not crazy about the amount of red that is in the primary logo. I think it's too much. Just my opinion, though. All right. So anyway, but it's a new look. They want the red to kind of help symbolize and tie in with the community at nearby Fort Drum. I get that. That's cool. We'll see what it looks like on a sweater when the Wolves players put on the sweater. What will it look like? All right, now the other big news that I want to talk about, and this is a bit of a follow up from my very polarizing video that I did this last Saturday. Um, is the SP why is the SP considered the better single A league? And got a lot of feedback from that, which I expected. But anyway, I mentioned in that video comparing the SP to the Fed. The SP's salary for this upcoming year is $6,500. I mentioned $3,900. That was what I was told from the meetings that took place right before the expansion draft, that the cap was going to be $3,900. Well, due to some status change and some paperwork that got filed, there was going to be a big jump, actually. The FPHL's salary per week this next year is going to be up to $5,500 a week, and not $3,900. That is a big jump. That's $1,700 more than last year, and that's going to create a follow-up effect. Some of it good, some of it maybe not so good from an organizational standpoint, but nonetheless, it's very good for the players, obviously. I've felt like the players, I felt like the salary has been needed to be raised to at least 5,000 for many years now, and now we got that. Why that happened? Well, they've changed their status. What I've been told by some people that are inside the league is that the league had been filed as a not-for-profit organization. They have filed paperwork with the IRS. They are no longer going to be not-for-profit. They're going to change their business model. It's going to be a lot more similar to the SPs. It's still not as high of a budget as the SP, but yeah, there's going to be much more. I hate to use the word legitimacy, but I really don't have another word as far as how the league does business, how it takes care of the players, how it takes care of the teams. Yeah, it's all going to change. Now, another good result, and this I did mention on Saturday's video, as a result of changing the status, they have put in an application to be able to offer players what's called a P1 visa. I don't want to get into all the technological terms because it's a lot, but keep it bare bones. Right now, players in the FPHL can only get a B1 visa, which is a 6-month visa in which they are not actually declaring income. With a P1 visa, you declare income and it's a full year. So that eliminates the need for all these players who are born in Europe or in Canada to have to leave their team for a game or two or three to go back home, file a new paperwork for a new visa. Once this goes through, and it's going to take some time for them to be able to offer the P1 visas, but once that happens, that is going to solve so many problems. It's going to be good. Now, this puts strain financially on the owners, some more than others. The little guys, the guys who are in markets that maybe aren't doing quite as well financially, this is going to be a big hit. This raise to 5,500. For other teams, they'll be able to absorb the cost without a problem. But the immediate impact that this could have is that it minimizes the amount of players who are getting paid under the table. Worst kept secret. Yep, players are paid under the table. They make their X amount of money on the books, and then they're given extra. Not all of them, but some. And this will help to curb that some, which again, I think is a step in the right direction. It will help balance the playing field a little bit. There won't be quite so much of the haves and have-nots, but it's going to take some time for that to kind of take effect. So there we go. That's really the big news of the weekend from this past weekend, is this raise in the salary cap. And again, it is very significant. I am also told that there will probably be another significant raise for the 2026 to 2027 season, so that they are in compliance with minimum wage laws. So, good situation. It's changed though. All right. Just to close this out, there were a few signings the last couple of days. The Biloxi Breakers on Monday announced that they had signed forward Joseph Tuber. He comes from Czechoslovakia. He's played in Czechoslovakia. That's an old term, Czechia. He's played hockey there and in France as well. First time in North America. Let's see. The Athens Rock Lobsters signed Dominic Dumas, who played 2 seasons ago in the FPHL. So this isn't his first go-around with the Fed. You have the Flying Hawaiian, Zach Pamelayan. He is going to be back once again with the hat tricks. And I believe next to Johnny Ruiz, he is the longest tenured hat trick on the roster. So I believe Pamelayan's been on the roster for 5 of the 6 years now, I believe. Anyway, final signing was Binghamton Black Bears. It was late on Monday. This was announced via the transactions page. As I am recording this, the Binghamton Black Bears have not yet announced this, but the league is announcing that Luke Douglas, defenseman, has re-signed with the Black Bears. He joined the Black Bears late last year as a collegiate graduate, and so he's back. Other thing to note, I didn't write here on the board, we had expansion news. KALB in Louisiana is reporting, or has reported, that the Coliseum in Alexandria, Louisiana, that's halfway roughly between Monroe and Baton Rouge, that they are in preliminary talks with one Mr. Parker Muscal in regards to possibly bringing pro hockey to Alexandria. So we will see what develops. The talks are quite preliminary right now. It's not detailed. It's not really deep at this point, but this is a possibility. So that's why I posted on Facebook, possible expansion alert. So we'll see what comes from that. Oh yeah, and the other thing that I didn't write a lot of things on the board today. I just kind of wanted to get this out there. Anyway, a busy week ahead. Two players that we're familiar with, familiar faces in the Fed, are getting opportunities a little bit higher up. Justin Portillo played some games with Athens last year. He signed a contract with the ECHL's Cincinnati Cyclones. So there we go with that. And then David Gaeta played last year in Watertown. He has signed with the Knoxville Ice Bears of the SP. So we may see them next year in the Fed, but I think Gaeta is going to stick. He's just an enormous talent, and depending on Cincinnati's needs, remember the ECHL uses 4 lines, not 3, like we have here in the Fed. So Portillo may be a fixture on that 4th line. I don't know. It's a possibility. So he may be up in Cincinnati for quite some time. We'll see what happens. All right, so that is the news. And next thing we have coming up Thursday, we'll have an update on the Flash Audio Network. Remember that the links are on the Facebook page. Make sure you're following me on Facebook. That's where I post all the news as it comes down. And there we go. I've already pre-recorded one of my videos for this weekend, as I do have an engagement on Saturday that's all day. And so I will be pre-recording the other one in a couple days, and we'll post them on the correct days. But anyway, all right. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining me. Always make sure to subscribe, like, share, all that kind of good stuff. All right, I'm Gary Ryan for the Fed League Flash, and we will talk to you on the Flash Audio Network on Thursday. Until then, have a great week.